Hello everyone, this is HGS here, back some more StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm 1v1 action. This time we're going to be casting SC2 Jaedong down in the bottom right side, and his opponent up in the top left side is going to be none other than Complexity QXC. It is going to be a TvZ, which I am super excited for. It's very nice of them to let us know that this Vespian gas is radioactive. If you guys didn't know that, well, apparently it is. But anyways, as this game gets underway, I do want to talk to you guys for just a little bit. For those of you who already watched my Bronze League Heroes game, you kind of know what I'm probably about to say, or if you follow me on Twitter, or I guess if you stalk me, I don't know. But either way, I have had a major sinus infection for over 2 weeks, and I've been on lots of meds, and my doctor's been taking care of me. Don't take that out of context. But slowly getting better and better, so if you hear me coughing every now and then throughout the cast, don't worry, I'm not dying. I hope so. At least I haven't been told that I'm dying. But it is just me getting over that cold and infection, and unfortunately, I just was not able to make videos for 2 weeks. It was actually so bad that I couldn't talk at all for several days, and also, if you watched the Bronze League Heroes game, you know I was coughing so much that I actually tore a rib muscle. Apparently it's a thing. If you cough too hard, you tear rib muscles, and I managed to figure that one out. Hashtag typical Husky, but anyways, slowly getting better and better, and I decided, you know what, it's been 2 weeks, I at least gotta man up and try to make some videos here, and thankfully my rib muscle is mostly healed at this point. It was really bad there for a couple of days, but I ain't gonna be a whiny Whitney, or a whiny Whitney. Why is that not a thing? Negative Nancy has been a thing for, you know, like decades, but whiny Whitney, man, that is not going to be me. As Butthurt Beverly is a good one. Oh, God. More like Coughing Carl is what I'm feeling like today. I don't know why I always find those names so funny. But if you don't know these two players, Jaedong has been around forever. He's back from the Brood War days, and he's actually the player when I was first getting into competitive StarCraft 2 as a spectator. He was kind of on his rise to fame. He was very dominating, especially as a Zerg player, and you know, always rivalries versus players like Flash. Now in StarCraft 2, it's kind of interesting because Jaedong was the dominant force, you know, as Zerg, but the best player, I would say of all time in Brood War, was Flash, but Jaedong was pretty darn good. But in StarCraft 2, Jaedong's actually the one who is much more dominant than Flash, so I guess the rivalry does continue. Now, QXC is a player, number one, who I cough at, apparently. My apologies, but QXC is a player who's been playing a lot of StarCraft for a very long time. He refuses to retire, and he is what I would call the good kind of tryhard. He is a player who is always looking to self-improve himself, always looking to play his best game, and has just been around like Jaedong has for a very long time. Always wishing him the very best. He's a fun player to hang out with, as well as I did actually hang out with him at the last BlizzCon. That was a ton of fun. He did a little co-casting with me on one of the, it was just a small stage, but either way, tons of fun there. Always a great guy, and the fact they're playing against each other is actually pretty ridiculous. I know that Jaedong has been doing a little bit of streaming. QXC does a lot of streaming, so if you like watching StarCraft, I guess you should watch them, question mark. But the Reaper right here, got to be kiting around these links as best he possibly can. He does already have 1 kill on that Reaper, so basically it's paid for itself. There's my minutely cough, and it does look like the Reaper just kind of continue to scout. Really, at this point, the whole reason you have a Reaper is to scout around with him. It's basically to protect your expansion, to make sure there's no hidden tech thrown your way, and just to see as much as you possibly can in the Zerg player's space. You're probably not going to get a whole lot of kills at this point with this Reaper, let's be honest. I mean, you have Queens here for defense, and actually, he's going to see if there's any gas here. He's going to see if there's any tech as well. So getting a lot of value out of this Reaper, and hopefully for him, he can jump down one of these sides. No, he is going to go ahead and kite around that Queen, though. The lane's going to try to intercept here, and actually, his Reaper's days may be numbered if he's not careful, but he is careful. And really, I mean, I'm getting tired of watching that Reaper. He's been alive so long. Normally, they either get in, scout, and then die, or they retreat back home after doing a little bit of initial scouting. But he's managed to keep this sucker alive for a very long time. Of course, Reapers do regenerate HP out of combat, so that's why he looks topped off time and time again after scouting around. It does look like early aggression here, though, as we do have the double Hellion and Reaper. Now, he has placed these directly under the Overlord. So I'm wondering if he's trying to actually scare Jaedong here. He's kind of like flaunting his units out here a little bit, because obviously he's not trying to hide them because they are directly under the Overlords. He may just go here with 4 Reapers though, and our 4 Hellions and the Reaper. Looks like the Queen's here. I mean, this is enough to kill these off in a one-on-one fight, but it's not necessarily enough to prevent them from running inside the main base or applying pressure to this base. Which actually, the amount of damage he's doing here with these units is quite substantial, because later, if QXC decides to push out with an army, he will be much easier, or have much easier of a time actually killing off that third base, because it will be substantially damaged. More Hellions going to move here. It's very interesting to see him actually try and go for the building. Not sure that he's going to kill it off or not, as he does have Lings and the creatures moving out, but this is a lot of damage starting to add up. The Queens have finally managed to trap these units here, but is there actually enough Queens here to kill these off? I'm honestly not sure. Should be enough energy for Transfuse coming up, but that Queen is dangerously low. It may not be in time for that free universal healthcare that Queens kind of doll out once you start getting that 50 energy anyways, so go ahead and do that. But for now, it does look like the Hellions managed to slip into the expansion. I think Jaedong severely underestimating how effective these Hellions can actually be. QXC definitely showing the Tyrant can bleed, as these have definitely paid for themselves at this point. 1,000 resources lost by Jaedong, and QXC, even if he loses these Hellions right now without killing a single other unit, they have already paid for themselves several times over. And even if the resources lost isn't that substantial, what is the amount of workers he's lost. 14 workers, because you gotta remember that for Jaedong, sure, he lost 1,400 resources, but he also lost all that potential mining time, which is kind of, well, suffered in the expansion, considering there's not a single drone mining down there right now. Now, thankfully for Jaedong, he does have his third base up and running. QXC, on the other hand, currently sitting at 2, but guess what? About to land that third base, so that's going to be a really good spot for him. Because remember, in TvZ, it is all about getting up 3 bases and continuing the pressure versus the Zerg, who hopefully you have crippled in some way throughout the game. And obviously, he has crippled him. He like took both legs from out under Jaedong, so now Jaedong's rolling around in a wheelchair. And you know, that's great and all. That's fine. But if it's a foot race, it can be a little bit difficult, as Jaedong right now has got to figure out how to get back on his feet, get his sea legs, and start hitting the ground running. Out of this analogy went south a long time ago. But either way, you do have Spinecrawler. He's going to be on the way for Jaedong. He's got to be able to hold off these Hellions. He's got to figure out how to deal with the fact that they're so fast, and he doesn't have that much to prevent them from running inside his main base like this. Now, Blue Flame just moments away from being done. There it is right there at the absolute perfect time. And that means that Jaedong realizes Ling's probably not going to be that effective anymore, as they do take additional damage. He does manage to kill off 1 or 2 of the Hellions. The Queen there trying to intercept, but Jaedong never able to delay the harassment right now. Leaving the drones on the line might have been a better option here, but there's just no units for Jaedong. All he's able to make here is lots and lots of Lings, because he keeps losing his economy, and he has to try and use these Lings very cost effectively, because Lings are one of those units where it's kind of like Banelings, where they can either be super cost effective by catching units out of position, or absolutely worthless if they get kited or if they get shot at by the correct angle with the Blue Flame. No upgrades are done yet for QXC. He does have the 1-1 on the way, as well as the Thor, so he is actually sticking to this mech style. He's got to try and mech it work. Look, guys, just because I was sick doesn't mean my puns got any better. But the Hellions right now are going to try to just continue having that map control, and in all honesty, they are doing just that. Jaedong has got to figure out, how do I recover from the substantial losses that I've suffered earlier in the game? So far, the answer is, well, I can't. And it does look like actually those creep tumors all get taken out there. A nice angle there for the Hellions to go ahead and take out. It does look like the Spinecrawler is here, protecting this location relatively well. The Hellions will eventually go down, and the Spinecrawler is actually trapping with the assistance of eggs, apparently, able to trap those. Here comes a big counterattack right now. Not many of that Hellions in position. The Lings trying to do as much damage as they possibly can. They have delayed the 2 command centers, but can the Lings actually kill off the Hellions? So far, it remains to be seen, but the Zerglings not actually doing as much damage as they would have liked to. Notice that the SCVs actually got put on hold position by QXC, which is to counteract the hold position micro of Jaedong, which is interesting, because originally, the ebb and flow of how this went is Says versus Protoss. Lings run in. The initial response is just send in a Zealot. Now, when the Lings see the Zealot, they aggro onto it, but if you put the Lings in hold position, it kills the probes. They're moving back and forth. So now, QXC is taking it a step further and actually told his own workers to stop moving, so that they aren't moving over those attackers that have been told to be put on hold position. Just showing you the importance of basically creative micro like that. It saved a lot of those SCVs. Does look at the Hellions right now, once again trying to harass, but I don't think they're going to have as much success as ones in the past. Well, we'll have to wait and see. There's still only 2 Spinecrawlers back here and the 1 Queen. Second Queen from the back going to be joining it as well. Since the drones got to be careful, they're clumping up a little bit too much. Ah! It looks like about half of them going down. as my scream like a crazy person is heard throughout the neighborhood, and workers killed 33-3. When you've killed 11 times more workers than your opponent, and it's about 14 minutes into a game, that is a pretty good spot to be in. But wait, there's more. Billy Mays here with another exciting Swarm Host opportunity. But wait, if you call now, you'll get 2 Swarm Hosts for the price of 1. That's a $500. I don't know how much Swarm Hosts would be worth on the black market. I don't know. Oh my god, imagine if Billy Mays was selling things on the black market. Billy Mays here with a fresh kidney from Peru. I don't know. I could see it happen, though. But either way, it does look like the Hellions right now got to go ahead and continue to try and clean up these creep viewers. Jaedong, though, refusing to have his creep spread be totally affected by this. Apparently, the lab bot has taken 8 damage over there. Not quite sure by what. But either way, Swarm Hosts have revealed themselves. Now, this is kind of unfortunate for Jaedong because Swarm Hosts are exceptionally good versus mech. I think that that's something that most anyone can agree with. But what the problem is he doesn't have that critical mass yet. He's only got very few of them, and this could allow QXC to switch to get Banshees, more siege tanks. Really, there's lots of ways to deal with the Swarm Hosts. You want to hide them as long as you possibly can. But unfortunately for JD, unable to do so. All right, we're back. We're back as the Queen right there is going to go ahead and inject larva onto that 4th hatchery, which may not be exciting for you, but it is exciting for Jaedong, as he has been way behind in almost every single way. And right now, goal is here. It's got to go ahead and move out, as it looks just like Chris Metzen, acts like him too. Come on, we know Chris Metzen's super metal. But either way, it looks like the Locusts here actually able to take out one of the Thors. Down it goes, and that is going to be huge because, again, Locusts are basically a free unit. Obviously, you know, Swarm Hosts aren't free, but if you're able to get lots of volleys into that army, that's where you start to get that value. That's where you start to be able to get back in the game. I think QXC knows it, and is he actually going to stick with pure mech? That is what I'm wondering at this stage of the game, is do you switch from mech, or do you try and mech it work? We'll have to wait and find out. Looks like the Hellions not able to mech anything work. I'm sorry, that pun is just too funny to me, as they basically just get obliterated there by the, well, Roaches. Roaches are going to be doing pretty good versus that. I guess say Zerg do have a lot of answers versus mech, which is one of the reasons you don't see a lot of mech. Oh, Jaedong with the miss micro is going to lose those Roaches. Now, the Roaches aren't that necessary. Shuri is going to have to replace them. But losing a couple roaches there is not the worst thing that could ever happen. What is, though, is losing all these drones. He cannot afford to lose any more drones. The Hellions continuing all the way into the main base. And these poor drones left completely defenseless. They're going to have to put their Nikes on and try and run out of there, which I gotta say Jaedong did do a relatively good job of softening the blow, but it was a blow nonetheless. Overall resource loss is about the same. Workers loss, though, is 43-3, as Jaedong unable to kill any more workers in, like, what, the last 10 minutes, I feel like? He hasn't been able to slow down the macro of QXC. Like I was saying, Banshees are going to be a great choice here because there's really no air here for Jaedong. I think what the natural transition is mass Viking with several Banshees, and eventually transitioning into even battle cruisers would be not that bad of a choice. And then keeping a few mech units alive to go ahead and protect those. We do have a Spire now on the way for Jaedong. I'm not letting Coffin get me down, as it does look like right now, though, these units got completely out of position. They're going to get completely destroyed by these Roaches. The Hellions not really going to be able to help out in this situation, and it does look here like the Roaches is going to be able to do a lot, as the Roaches continuing to march forward. All of a sudden, QXC not having a whole lot left. He does have the Banshees back at home, but is it actually enough to hold off versus these Roaches? And if you guys heard that phone call, I don't know. But we're not stopping. We are not stopping. We did this QXC versus Jaedong. There's no time for phone calls, as the Roaches over here actually for Jaedong actually able to slip inside of QXC. Okay, then maybe I could reword that a little bit better. But either way, gotta be doing lots of damage here with these Roaches. Finally getting some worker kills of his own. Roaches do kill workers extremely slowly, though, just because of how they work. They're very slow attacking yet. That workers killed, though, is almost going to be even right now. QXC's got to find a way to stabilize from this. The Banshee and Siege Tank combo is finally enough to clean that one up. Can it clean up this other base, though? It does look like the Orbital Command could go down. The Roaches, do they decide to try and finish it off? Looks like so far the answer is no, as I think that Orbital can be saved as long as the QXC is paying attention. But wait, there's more, as the attack over here refusing to relent and or refusing to give up, as it does look like the Orbital might actually burn down. QXC taking his first fatal shots there. but are they actually going to be enough to kill him off? It does look like the Roaches are going to slip up there. A Planetary should be able to hold its own versus this many Roaches, at least for now. The Locust, though, may be making a difference here. That is way too many SCVs. These Roaches are not going to be able to kill that off at all. Jaedong's trying to make it work, but unfortunately, that's not going to work at all. Hellions over here are going to be able to delay this expansion. Not sure if they're going to be able to kill off that hatchery itself or just prevent these drones from transferring. Either way, it is going to be worth it because QXC's got to dust himself off and get back in this. You can see right now, Workers Killed is actually going to be favoring Jaedong now, so you finally slowed down the macro train of QXC, but at the same time, you may lose this base to Hellions of all units, and indeed it does get taken out there, so lots of Hellions managing to do quite a bit. I mean, with that +2 attack, they're going to be a threat to almost anything in the game, except for those Roaches. Roaches still not going to be that impressed, but for now, the Hellions here trying to find a weakness in the defenses. So far, they find a nice patch of juicy Zerglings. Nothing like Zerglings, man. Blue Flame Hellions eat them like Skittles, and does manage to kill off the majority of those, but both players really struggling to get maxed out right now. As, I mean, just look at the supplies, 138 to 148. Both players not having that much money or that many drones. Jaedong's got to be careful. Does manage to keep a lot of them alive, but 49 to 65. Overall Workers Killed 53 to 54. Could not be more identical in that regard. Resources lost overall is relatively even as well. The Locust there trying to do something, but that is way too long of a travel. They give up and fall asleep about halfway there. He would love to kill off this base, and Mutalisks are just the way to do it. Looks like this missile turret will complete in time as Mutalisks deciding to turn around. Hellions once again going to be slipping in here to the top right side. Not sure if that's enough to actually kill off the base, but then again, they did get there relatively early. So it does look like the Planetary will most likely go down. Locust up here trying to intercept any reinforcements. Also going to be driving that tower as well. Does turn them into Hellbats here, which is going to be more damage to the hatchery. Can he kill it off? A little bit of Micro says yes. I think he's actually going to get it there, and he does. Big play there by QXC, actually able to take that one out. It does look like the Mutalisks and Swarm Hosts trying to push their way up here. The Locust unable to make it, though. But really, we get nice Locust fireworks kind of flying through the air. Speaking of flying through the air, though, these Mutalisks are going to be an imminent threat. Can they kill off this Thor? Probably. But at what cost? As the Raven here with the auto turrets can be doing lots of damage. Sacrificing this many Mutalisks to kill off one Thor is absolutely not worth it, especially since QXC is trying to vie for air superiority. As Zerg, you don't want to really be giving up that air superiority if you can help it. Then you are forced to switch to things like Hydras. That's really only your anti-ground unit that's kind of reliable. But either way, it does look like more Thors are on the way. We also had the Vikings, all that good stuff. Now remember that the Vikings are going to be at 3-3 as well. That also means Ravens have 3 armor, so lots of Sky Terran got to be coming out here for QXC, which I honestly think is the correct choice here. Sure, getting some mech units is great, but it's all about having the air superiority, because if you have air superiority, you're able to kill off the Swarm Host relatively easily. Even a point defense drone making this onslaught not really that effective right now. Jaedong has got to figure out what unit do I get, how do I get more bases, and how do I delay these bases over here. Looks like the Mutalisks doing a pretty good job of that overall, though, as we do have units killed 268 to 171. That's a lot of units killed. 59 to 54 Workers killed, so Workers having a much better time right now. It does look like the Widow Mines over here may get taken out. They do manage to burrow first, so nice split by Jaedong. Doesn't actually lose any Roaches here with some pretty stellar micro. Could have an Overseer over here to easily clean those up should they decide to burrow, which that one does burrow, but still gets taken out as there is an Overseer right there. And QXC, can he actually make this Sky Terran work? I'm really, really curious here to see exactly how this pans out. This is exactly what QXC wanted to do, though, is find these Swarmos completely undefended. Now he's going to be able to chase them down with the Banshees. A little bit of micro means no problem. And if nothing else, he's going to be able to kill off all these Mutalisks, which have been sacrificed now. Now, losing these mutas is actually a big deal at this point, and just because he's getting Broodlords doesn't mean he doesn't want those mutas, and at this point he's very low on money, so sure he can make some lings, but can he make anything that requires a lot of gas? So far his choice is going to be to go for Broodlords, which is a unit that we don't really see anymore, just because Sky Terran is very, very effective at dealing with that. But we shall see if the Broodlords pay off. We do have more Corruptors on the way, which Corruptors I can kind of get behind. I think that those aren't necessarily the worst unit that Jaedong can be getting right now. It's the Broodlords that do have me a little bit skeptical. However, the Ravens and Vikings are a little bit overextended, and Seeker Missiles coming up. Got to try and split these up. That's going to be so much splash damage. almost killing out the Broodlords, but not quite. 1 HP remains, and these Vikings going to finish the job here with some pretty crazy Seeker missiles, and all of a sudden Jaedong realizing, well, his unit composition used to work, but not so much anymore as the Mutalisks get taken out as well. Jaedong never able to fully recover or utilize, even after killing off so many workers of QXC. QXC's macro absolutely impeccable this game. I mean, he's maxed out, he's got lots of money on the way, and still producing units here. Notice he's also being aggressive at the same time he's producing, which means that if he loses those units, well, he just has more for backup, and he's not going to be sitting on a big stockpile of cash. He's even working on the Corvid reactor, making his Raven spawn with additional energy. He could go for durable materials as well, but regardless, we do have the Vikings here trying to kite this around, and Jaedong not having a whole lot of options right now. There's going to be the Seeker Missile. It will do a lot of damage. It doesn't end up killing off the Disruptor or anything. But every unit that Jaedong has right now is absolutely irreplaceable until he can start getting a little bit more macro. And it does look at his Widowmine up here. It does have 4 kills, slowly killing off the drones one by one. Spineclaws here should be able to hold out this, I guess you could call it harassment. It's kind of weird to see Hellbat harass, though, just as they kind of walk around instead of being picked up by a medevac. But it does look like actually the Corruptor is able to intercept all these Ravens. Ravens are not cheap. And, oh, so little HP. 3 HP remaining there, almost killing out the Vikings as well. Jaedong has got to find a way to hard counter this army. Using the Corruptors is a good start. Using the Swarm Host as often as possible and just trying to lay down some damage is a good start as well. But we'll see if the Corruptors actually manage to whittle away at this Viking count. I mean, you can see that QXC realized, you know what, ground army is great, but it's all about the air superiority as he goes for the Ravens, Vikings, and even some Thors mixed in right now. So QXC can continue to push forward, and he is scanning, which he doesn't necessarily need to kill off the creep tumors, but scanning is, of course, ideal for seeing what's headed your way, which is exactly what he's doing there. I think he caught a glimpse of what's going on and decided, you know what, I've done enough damage here. I'm going to go ahead and back on out. We do have more command centers on the way. This is something QXC loves to do, is just make lots and lots and lots of command centers and just kind of float them all over the map, which we are currently running out of locations to be able to float those to, as half the map is covered in creep, and then the other half is just dangerously close to creep, and that means that Jaedong could counterattack quite easily, but right now it is 146 supply to 200. There is no real way to sugarcoat that other than he needs an absolute miracle. He does have Ultralisks on the way, but you gotta remember that Siege Tanks, Thors, yada yada, they do insane single target DPS, and Siege Tanks especially, you gotta remember they do additional damage versus armored, and guess what? Thors do 39 damage, but that's 2 attacks, almost 80 damage per shot there, which is why the Ultralisks tend to melt away. This is where Ultralisks are actually not that viable whatsoever, and where Mech is actually extremely good. Which right now, if QXC actually kills off one of these bases, that is pretty much it. This Hive Tech is in danger of getting taken out. The Ultra here should be able to clean all these guys up. But still a surprising amount of damage considering that they are Hellbats. They're a 100 resource unit and almost able to bring down the Ultra, but not today. The tech down there does remain. Oh, almost goes down, but again, not quite yet. But either way, he was able to take out one of the only mining bases of Jaedong up at the top right side. So Jaedong scrambling around trying to figure this out. There are lots of Broodlords here, but also lots of Vikings. Got to split this army up. That's going to be big splash damage here. Nope, looks like he went ahead and fizzled out. But this is going to be it for Jaedong. He's got to try and go with everything he's got. The Ultra showing up just in time, but is it going to be enough? Seeker Missile is going to be coming out as well. But there is no way this is enough here as QXC just igniting everything up. And there's the GG from Jaedong. QXC able to defeat one of my Zerg players of all time. But either way, a well-deserved win there for QXC. I got to say, now that I've been sick and I've had a lot of games kind of stockpiling in my inbox, so we are just getting started. Again, I'm still coughing a little bit. I'm still coughing. I'm like basically coughing from Pokemon, but that's okay. I look at least a little bit more handsome than coughing. I don't know though. He's got quite the smile. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna go rest my voice a little bit just to make sure I don't throw it out. But I will be back with some more StarCraft 2 pretty darn soon. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time.